Hello world! In this video I'm going to be sharing my idea for what a 40-team NHL would look like. If this video does well, I will also make a video for the MLB, the NFL, the MLS, and maybe even the NBA as well. But we'll see. So this is what the NHL looks like right now. This is how all the divisions are aligned. Now personally, I do not think that any of the current NHL teams need to relocate. I think they're all fine where they are, and I'm not going to be moving them from where they play. I do think some should be moved closer to the center of their metropolitan areas, but that's a video for another time. But to accommodate 40 teams, we're going to have to shift the divisions around a little bit, and you'll see why at the end of the video. So here you can see what I've done. I've moved the Arizona Coyotes from the Central Division to the Pacific Division, and I've moved the Nashville Predators from the Central Division to the Metropolitan Division. Now, my goal by the end of this video is to have 10 teams in every single division. Right now, there are 9 in the Pacific, 6 in the Central, 9 in the Metropolitan, and 8 in the Atlantic. But with the 8 expansion teams I have in mind, it's going to perfectly balance out the divisions. With that being said, let's move on to the expansion cities. First up on my list is San Diego, California. It seems like a pretty obvious choice. It's the 8th largest city in the United States, and they don't really have many pro sports teams. San Diego is no stranger to hockey, however. They already have an AHL team, the San Diego Gulls, who usually are at the top of the league in attendance, which proves that there definitely is demand for hockey in the city. They'd easily be able to form rivalries with the other California teams, which would be amazing to watch. San Diego is in desperate need of more sports teams, and I think that hockey would be a great addition to the city. Next up, we have Saskatoon. This one might surprise a lot of people, but just stick with me for a minute. Saskatoon is the largest city in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan, an area devoid of professional hockey, but definitely not devoid of professional hockey fans, which is one of the main differences between Canada and the United States. In Canada, if you go into a not that big town, you'll probably still find a lot of hockey fans. A lot of people don't know this, but the St. Louis Blues almost relocated to Saskatoon back in the 1980s. Saskatoon has a decently sized arena, the Sasktel Center. While it's not exactly massive by any means, the seating capacity is only slightly smaller than the Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, which is currently the smallest in the NHL. But probably the most compelling argument is the fact that in nearby Regina, they always sell out CFL football games at Mosaic Stadium. And it's a lot harder to sell out a football stadium than a hockey arena. Saskatchewan loves their football team, and it's time they get a hockey team too. Next, we move down south to Houston. Now, if you ask me, it's absolutely criminal that Houston doesn't already have a team. I mean, they're the 4th largest city in the United States, for crying out loud. There is a goldmine of potential fans in Houston. The fact that they already have an MLB, NBA, MLS, and NFL team says a lot of good things. The only real argument against Houston getting a team is the fact that it isn't a traditional hockey market. But I mean, neither was Dallas before it got a team, but as we've seen, the Stars have built up a very strong following in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so why not give Houston a team and form a natural rivalry inside the state of Texas? Next is Kansas City, Missouri. I feel like Kansas City has a lot of untapped potential to becoming a hockey town. Their counterpart on the other side of the state, St. Louis, already has a team, so there's easily a rivalry able to form there. Kansas City used to have a hockey team, but they relocated due to horrible performance and bad attendance. One thing that Kansas City really has going for it is the T-Mobile Center. It's a state-of-the-art facility in the city's downtown which would be perfect for an NHL team, or maybe even an NBA team. It's a shame that the city currently has neither, because any team would be lucky to call this beautiful arena their home. Next on my list is Milwaukee. I chose Milwaukee for one main reason, and that's its proximity to Chicago. With the two cities being so close, it would be very easy for visiting fans to go on the road and see their team play in the other team's stadium, which is already very commonplace in Major League Baseball. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that much about Milwaukee, especially in terms of how much they love hockey, but they do have an AHL team, so that definitely counts for something. And Milwaukee does have the Pfizer Forum, a relatively new state-of-the-art arena that currently plays host to the Milwaukee Bucks, although I'm not sure if it's able to be converted to hockey. Regardless, I do think Milwaukee should be considered when talking about NHL expansion cities. Next up is Atlanta, Georgia. I already know this one's about to be controversial, but just hear me out for a second, okay? Even though the Thrashers had very poor attendance throughout their existence, during the 2000s, they usually had better attendance than the Blackhawks, the Devils, the Capitals, and even the Bruins. Yes, that's right, the Thrashers actually had better attendance than 2 Original Six teams, but no one ever wants to talk about that. You know, it really is a shame that the Thrashers relocated, because there are a ton of potential hockey fans in Atlanta, but during the life of the Atlanta Thrashers and the much older Atlanta Flames, the management did a pretty poor job of putting a good product out in the ice. Usually the Hawks would take priority because, you know, basketball is still more popular than hockey in the US. But had Atlanta fans been given a good product on the ice, you can be sure that they would have come to games in droves. I mean, look at Atlanta United. They're a relatively new team and they've had absolutely no trouble with attracting fans. Like Houston, Atlanta already has an MLB, NBA, MLS, and NFL team. If given a third chance and done properly, I think hockey in Atlanta could be a huge success. Next is Hamilton. Some people might think this is an odd choice, but I think Hamilton has a lot going for it. Hamilton is the 10th largest city in Canada, which already makes it a great place for hockey, not to mention its location in southern Ontario, where lots of hockey fans and hockey players come from. Hamilton's no stranger to professional sports. They have the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the Canadian Football League, and Forge FC of the Canadian Premier League. One huge advantage that Hamilton has in terms of hockey is the First Ontario Centre. While it definitely is not the most modern arena, it has an appropriate amount of seating to accommodate an NHL team. Many people think that Hamilton shouldn't get a team because of its proximity to Toronto and Buffalo, but if anything, I think that's a positive more than a negative, because it allows fans to travel to away stadiums more, which makes for better rivalries. Overall, Hamilton definitely needs to be in the conversation when we're talking about expansion. I think we all knew this one was coming. I saved the best for last. I mean, really, how could any hockey fan disagree that Quebec City deserves a team? Quebec City used to have a team, the Quebec Nordiques, but they relocated mostly due to a weak Canadian dollar. But times have changed, and I definitely think that Quebec City needs their team back. Quebec City already has an NHL-ready arena, the Videotron Center. This place is absolutely massive, and is practically begging for an NHL franchise to call it home. One thing you may have noticed about all of the Canadian cities that I've put on this list is that all of them have a metropolitan area of less than 1 million people. And the thing about Canada is that even with less than 1 million people, you can still be certain that there's going to be lots of hockey fans, and Quebec City is certainly no exception. They loved the Nordiques while they existed, and their love of hockey certainly hasn't gone away. With the level of passion that Quebec City has for hockey, as well as the NHL-sized arena they have ready to go, there isn't a shadow of a doubt in my mind that Quebec City needs a team. And that's my list of expansion cities that I think deserve an NHL team. Here's where they are on a map. You can see that I've color-coded them according to which division they would fit into. And what do you know? Every single division is rounded out to 10 teams each. And that is my proposal for a 40-team National Hockey League. Now, do I think that the NHL is ever going to get to 40 teams? Probably not. But the main point of this video was to showcase which cities I think deserve NHL teams. Did you agree with my list? If not, tell me what you would change in the comments down below. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.